Think we got everybody in here, Kevin? Do you think we're ready to go?
Excellent. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hi, my name is Kevin Live, product manager from Loadrite. I'm super excited to introduce and showcase the new powerful integration from Loadrite and Fastway, two industry leaders coming together to create a game-changing joint solution. This collaboration makes a significant milestone, and we couldn't be more excited to share it with you. Joining me today, I have Steve and BJ from Fastway who will be presenting with me. Together, we will explore how this integration can improve the industry and bring some real benefit to our customer. So before we get started, let's go over the next one to show you how the presentation work today. So you will notice that at the bottom, there's a Q&A button. So if you have any questions, so feel free to pop it there. Then we will have someone will monitor and we'll try to answer you um, on the chat or on the presentation. Or if you have a question, so feel free to also put your hand up and ask. So this is meant to be very interactive. Right. Yep. And so the agenda today is basically we'll quickly go over some of the Loadrite. I'll talk about Loadrite because we do have some Fastway team member with us, so they give them a bit more background. And the Fastway team and Steve will do the same to help our Loadrite dealer to understand a bit more about Fastway and the product. We'll go over the how the integration work, and the next bit will be the exciting bit where we're going to do a live demo, and then we will have Q&A at the end. So, okay, let's get started for the next one. So, Loadrite, so that, yeah. So I would like to take this moment to introduce the Loadrite, our company, and our products a little bit. And Loadrite has been a pioneer in the industry since 1979. We started this kind of with a mission to help the quarries and mines to improve their productivities by optimizing every truck that they load. The loader scale have been instrumental in achieving this goal, ensuring that every truck is loaded efficiently and safely. So the past 45 years, we have expanded our technology and expertise far beyond the loader scales. Today, our weighing technology and solution are used in variety of machines, including the excavators, haul trucks, container with stackers, waste collection trucks, and conveyor belt scale, as you can see in the pictures. We are also broadening our reach to a multiple industry and applications such as transportation, agricultural, waste management, as you can see, and also in salt spreading winter operations. So next slide, please. So now let's dive into the current product that's actually critical and essential for our integration offering. So today, our loader scale technology has been in its 10th generation and represented by the L5000, which is on the left-hand side of the screen. This state-of-the-art products feature a 7-inch touchscreen with a reimagined user interface that has received fantastic feedback from many of our customers. The intuitive designs and this extra functionality make it really a top choice for all our customers at this stage. So for this integration, though both 5000 and the previous generation L3180 will work seamlessly and integrate well with the Fastway system. If our customer have an older generation scale like the 2180 or older, they will need to upgrade their scales in order to take advantage of this solution. So next, I will have the Fastway team to give us an overview of their company and introduce themselves and talk about their products. Steve, pass it to you.
Thanks, Kevin. I don't, I won't bore you with a lot of details on the Fastway product. I'm hoping BJ will go into any details and answer any questions. But just to let you know that, what we've done here on the Fastway side over the past 7 to 8 years is what we've tried to do is bring kind of a modern tech stack to what we feel is an industry that was really in need of change. If you look across the landscape, pretty much the industry has been an old legacy platform of scale software in the aggregate world. And what we've done is we've brought a modern web first, browser first application along with mobile apps to really simplify this aggregate world when it comes to the tech stack. So we're making it easy for IT managers, C-level guys to manage and put in our technology, allowing companies to easily scale um, their platform. So go ahead and so what we did is we took this modern platform, browser based, and incorporated it with features like RFID, um, LPR cameras, scale interfaces, and then now we're bringing in silo loadout on the asphalt side, and then also we incorporated with the Loadrite folks to be able to communicate our technology back to the Loadrite scale. So we'll let BJ and Kevin kind of demo that, along with bringing in kind of the whole quote to cash financial side of the equation, accounting, reporting, everything required to manage, an aggregate construction materials facility, along with integration with APIs for accounting and finance. So, and then here, Kevin's going to kind of talk about what's required on the Loadrite side, and then I'll talk a little more about what we do on the Fastway side.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So now, sorry guys. Now let's talk about how this integration works and how everything fits together and what problem we are trying to solve with the solution. So clearly, the magic here is a seamless integration and the combination of the Loadrite 360 dispatch system and the Fastway ticketing system. So this integration provides detailed trucks and order information to the loader operator when the truck comes in at the site. And so what's the solution? The solution is really to to streamline the trucks and order information and the end-to-end order to delivery process. It ensures efficient on-site job coordination, as well as the integration between the truck, the loader scale, and and the and the weighbridge and the order system, point of sale system. So the diagram here show how everything connected. You can see the wiring, and on the left-hand side, you can see the Loadrite L5000 and 3180 scale. They fit on the loader, of course, and the loader will be somewhere in the yard where the product stockpiles are. And they are wirelessly connected to the Loadrite LG500, the box in the middle. So it's the gateway that fitted in the customer network. So typically will be in the scale house somewhere. So on one side, the Loadrite LG500 manage the job site information and coordinate all the work with the scale on the left hand side. On the other side of the LG500 is to integrate and interface with the Fastway system using API. So now I hand over to Steve to talk about how the Fastway side of the solution and how things fit together.
Okay, so thanks, Kevin. So keep your fingers crossed. We're going to do a live demo of the whole environment for you here. Hopefully, since Kevin's in New Zealand, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, and BJ's in Alabama somewhere, or what they refer to as LA, Lower Alabama. And so cross our fingers, this will all kind of work together seamlessly. But yeah, so what we do is, handle all the accounting and finance side of selling materials, and you guys handle the production at the loader end. And so we're trying to marry that all up together. So we'll we'll roll in, go ahead and flip to the next screen. So what we'll show you here is kind of, how we at Fastway handle the truck check-in at a facility, and we can do that either through manually, or we can do it through RFID, through license plate recognition cameras, and then we'll take that information that we store in our system as far as what trucks are coming in, what's their target weights, or what's their capacity. We'll send that information back to the Loadrite unit over via the LG 500. We have lots of ways to kind of configure this all, and then basically once that truck gets loaded, we'll track that loaded weight. We'll capture that as well, as long as the date time it checked in, the date time it got loaded, and then we'll memorialize things on the ticketing side to create an NTEP ticket at the scale house over a regular deck scale, or a weighbridge, as Kevin calls it, and memorialize that data, and allow it to all be managed from our web portal. So go ahead and. So you'll see here, you'll see here, we'll track some of these dates, times in our system. We'll send that back to your system, and then memorialize it back in our system for analytics, reporting, collection of cash and payment, things of that nature. So without further ado, I'll let BJ give you a quick rundown on the Fastway side and show you how it integrates with Loadrite.
All right, so let me get my other screen shared here real quick. See if I can figure out what I'm doing. There we go. How about that? Does that look okay? Steve, y'all can see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess feel free to ask any questions along the way. There's a raise your hand and a chat button. If you have questions as we go through this, feel free.
Yeah, Steve and Kevin, if y'all don't mind, monitor those questions, and if there's any questions, interrupt me, and that'll be just fine. So I think I want to take a minute or two just to kind of, I know Steve talked about Fastway and who we are and the things that we do, but I want to show you a few things here just so you can kind of wrap your head around what it is that Fastway does. So a couple of different pieces to this here real quick. One's going to be the web portal, which you see on the screen here. This is kind of the management piece of things, right? This is where everything starts. I mean, you can see across the top all of the different things that we do within Fastway, anything from quotes all the way down to dispatching to billing and AR, reports, all that good stuff. So this is where everything starts. And really, you can be anywhere to kind of operate in this web portal. If it's at home, if it's at work, if it's on vacation, because we always take work with us on vacation, even though we're not supposed to. But really, wherever you are, you can be operating in this web portal here, doing different things. And really, it's kind of that order management, that customer management, pricing of those products, setting up those jobs in order so we can track tonnages and things like that. And then when we do the invoicing, invoice separately for those separate orders and POs and things like that. But just to kind of show you, just when I talk about these orders and setting those up, if you want to think about them as jobs or contracts or whatever, you can do that. But when we set up these orders, this is what we're going to be ticketing against in Fastway, right? So when a truck comes in and says, hey, I'm hauling for PO number 1234 or the Highway 95 widening job, when they tell us that information at the time of ticketing, and I'll show you this here in a minute, they're actually referring to an order that we have set up in our system so that when we create that ticket, we've got all that stuff tracked and things like that, the tonnages and the bills and all that stuff kind of refers back to that order. But, you can see the different things that you set up here in the order, whether it be the PO numbers like I talked about. If somebody's using an ERP where they've got jobs and phase codes and things like that, we can associate an order with those jobs and phase codes as well. And then putting those products on this specific order. Now, that's important to note, too, is there may be some jobs out there that when we're loading up trucks that you may not you may quote them for only 3 products, and you don't want them to be able to get material that's not on that quote. So when we refer to this order, we're only going to put the products that we need to put on there. And then that way, when we go to create that ticket, we're only going to be able to choose the products that we've quoted for that person. And then when we put those products on there, this is where we can kind of pull pricing in, talk about freight rates, order quantities here, hey, this is a 10,000 ton job, surcharges, all that good stuff. We're going to be able to put those on this order. And then this information, as soon as we enter this information here and update it and save it, that's going to be immediately transferred down to the scale house here. So this, what you're seeing on the screen now, is the ticketing application. This is a program that sits locally on that machine there at the scale house. It's going to be talking constantly back and forth with the web portal. As soon as tickets are created, we're going to sync those tickets back up to the web portal so that anybody anywhere can have access to that in real time. Those orders we entered and things like that, as soon as those are created, they're synced down here to the ticketing application as well. Now, say all that to say, if we go offline, we lose our internet, we can still create tickets. We can work offline too. But the idea is, in a perfect world, we've got a good connection all the time, talking back and forth, syncing products or syncing information down and then back up to the web portal. So now, if you look over here, I've already checked a bunch of trucks in right here, and I'll go through this process here in a second, but I've already checked a bunch of trucks in, and we'll come back to this piece here in just a second. But this is kind of the scale house view of the trucks that are in the yard and their status, whether it be loaded or not loaded. We got a bunch of trucks that are not loaded right here. We've got a couple down here that are loaded. But simply put, when a truck comes in, typically they're telling us, hey, I'm truck, we'll just use this first one here, 1025. I'm here for PO number 4223. I'm getting half-inch crusher run or something like that. So they'll tell us that, and then we'll hit this check-in button right here. And so when we hit this check-in button, what that does is that sends that information to the loader operator on the, and forgive me if I say this wrong, but the L5000 and the 3180. They're going to get that information there on that display for the loader. They're going to be able to see the product they want. They're going to be able to see that target. So you see that target right there. We're going to be able to say, hey, they need, that's a very specific target, but 52,660 pounds, or we'll convert that to tons and say 25 and whatever tons that may be, 26 tons or whatever that is right there. So they'll be able to see that on that, the L5000 or the 3180. And I don't know, Kevin, do you feel like we need to show that real quick to see what they would see in the cab of the loader?
Well, I can confirm. I just saw the one that you just added, so maybe
Okay.
just give the audience a bit more background. So I have a 5000 sitting next to me, so in New Zealand, and then the talking to the server actually in Tennessee, so you can see the power of this wireless connection, right? So do I need to do a share screen to see show
sure.
how my screen look like?
I'll stop mine real quick if you just want to show them the fact that, hey, we actually do transfer that stuff over to the 5000.
Yep.
And as you guys are talking, one of the questions we had from K&R Group is does a customer still need an IHQ subscription? I'm not sure what IHQ is. Maybe that's a Loadrite term, Kevin?
Oh yeah, that's a good question, right? So the IHQ is the Loadrite side of the reporting portal. So for this particular integration, you don't need that. So all you need is the LG 500, as you can see, we call the diagram, which is the box in the middle, right? So the LG 500 will talk to the L5000 or 3180. So and all the talking between all these devices, and then the Fastway network will talk. The Fastway will talk to the LG 500 using the over the network. So that's how the magic works. And I think you guys can see my screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yep. So that is the mirror image of the thing that BJ was talking about. That's the list of the trucks that already checked in the yard. The one he added is the 1025. It show up at the bottom because it is the one just came in, and currently wait time after all this talking about 2 minutes. So that's it's 2 minutes since BJ added the ticket. And as you can see, the 5000 kind of sorting the same way as the Fastway system, where the the oldest one sitting at the top. So you can see a few jobs where it's been sitting there for over 70 odd minutes. So that's a screen where I quickly navigate through, and then BJ can see the same thing. So if I pick the first job, like the first one, then you can see you pick up the product number 57 and pick up the target of 28.2 tons. I may have converted to matrix because that's how my system is set up, right? So if I do some quick simulation, for example, I just do, I should do something other than 0. Yep. So at the 9, 10 and do another one. Then you can see quickly going towards the target. Yep. Let me see. I'll do one more lift. I'm pretty close. Next one going to be perfect. So I'm gonna do 660. So do another lift. Then I'll just perfect operator. Let's load it to the truck target perfectly. So I will complete my job.
You're good,
Yep.
Kevin.
Yeah, I've been practicing. So I complete my job, then that will return to my normal Loadrite screen, right? So if I go to quickly back to my thing, you can see the first job was taken out. So I'll pass it back to you, BJ, to see how the screen looks like on the other side.
Yeah. So let me get back over here to mine. Okay. So if you'll remember this list over here, this is the list kind of the trucks that are in the yard, loaded or not loaded. You can see a lot of these are not loaded, but if we look over here, if all things work like they should, there it is. There's that truck that Kevin just loaded right there. And you can see it says loaded right there. So this is good for the scale operator to see, to have a good idea of who's in the yard, right? So this guy came in at 208 and now it's 323. And it's like, what happened? What's going on up there? Maybe we need to call and see what's going on. But then we can look at this guy right here that Kevin just loaded and say, okay, cool. He was loaded. So we should be seeing him coming back down on the scales here in just a few minutes. And then when he does, all we have to do is just click right there. That pulls that information back in, and then we can finalize this ticket right here. Accept that weight. There's a lovely picture of the truck on the scale if we need to do that, and then create the ticket there. And now we've completed that load right there. Now another good thing to kind of point out here. Let's do one more just to kind of show you here. So we've got our trucks right here. There's another one that's loaded. He's been in there for quite a while, so we'll go ahead and finish this one out. Pull that guy back in right there. Grab that weight from the scale, and then create the ticket. Now, back over here in the portal. So remember, this is the ticketing application here. This is locally there at that scale house. But back over here in the portal, this is where we can kind of monitor everything. And a good place to see a lot of this stuff is here within this. We've changed the name. This is going to say in yard here in a couple weeks, but for now it's loadout. But you've got a good idea as to who's in the yard right here with this live view. So if I'm an admin at the office or something like that, and I'm kind of peeking in on what's going on, I can say, this guy got checked in at this time. He got loaded at this time. My gosh, it took him 96 minutes to get checked in and then get loaded. What's going on? Maybe we need another loader operator there or something like that. So the admin can make some good informed decisions based off of this real-time information that they're seeing right here on this screen. Also too, when you look at your history here, you're going to get a lot more information. You're going to say, okay, this guy entered at this time, loaded at this time, ticketed at this time. So, total time in yard, this person spent 80 minutes sitting there waiting to get loaded. This guy spent, 6 minutes or whatever it is. So you can see all those times as we go down the list here. And then also another good little view to kind of look at here is this dashboard. Kind of looking at, these are all my trucks that have been in, the average time that they spent in the yard there. I've got a couple of different loaders working right here, seeing my loads at each loader. This guy's done 1 load, he's done 5, and all that good stuff. Now, one thing that we don't see here that's actually coming in an update here, like I said, in a couple weeks, is here in this history. So what we're going to do is also display, and Steve helped me out with this, describing this, but we're actually going to display the actual loaded weight from the Loadrite unit. So we got a target, right? So we know that they want 25 tons, but maybe we load them with 24.99 or something like that. We're going to display that weight in a column here showing the actual Loadrite loaded weight.
Yeah, we've added a new field in an upcoming release called Loader Net. So now you'll be able to compare the loader net weight versus what was weighed on the weighbridge, to kind of look at your stats to determine how close, so we're collecting the time, the date they entered, the time to get loaded, the time to get ticketed, and then the variance between what the target weight was, what was actually loaded by the loader, and then the weighbridge amount.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's good for, making sure that everything is looking good, right? When we talk about scales going not out of balance, I can't even think of the word, but whatever, maybe if there's a big discrepancy, maybe we've got an issue with a scale on the loader scale or our truck scale or whatever it may be. So that's good information to have there. Another thing to talk about, just kind of Fastway related here. Not necessarily about the integration, but just to kind of talk to a couple more things about Fastway and things that we do. We always tell people in all these demos that I do, we always create a digital ticket first, right? When I hit that create ticket button, I'm creating that digital ticket automatically. Now, if you choose to print a ticket, that's okay. You can still print a ticket, but the idea is, and the hope is in the future, that we can get more towards digital tickets and away from all this paper. Not that we have anything against paper. It's just it sits in boxes and storage rooms, and we don't, for 5 years, and then we throw it away. So if we can get around and get away from all that paper, that's always a good thing. And so when we create these tickets, they're automatically synced up to the portal here. The best place to find those tickets is here in this ticket query. And this is something you can give access, or people can give access to their customers. So, if I've lost a ticket or something like that, and I call and say, hey, I've lost my ticket, we're not having to go thumb through a file of tickets and scan it and email it and things like that. We can just say, hey, customer, let's give you portal access. You log in, you see your information only. And then here's the ticket record here. Here's the actual ticket. They can, open this up, print it off if they need to. Let me just do this real quick. Here we go. So there's the ticket, and boom, just in a matter of 2 seconds, they've got that ticket, and they can save it to their computer, print it off, or whatever they need to do there. And then obviously the pictures too that we take, we store those images with the ticket record as well, so that we've got that backup information of, hey, that wasn't my truck on the scale. Well, yeah, it is. There's your truck right there sitting on the scale at the time of ticketing. So that real-time information. There's also, see if this will pop up. Let me pull this over here real quick. This doesn't look the greatest because it's actually supposed to be a mobile app for a phone or tablet, but this is something, that's not what I wanted to show you. Yep. So this is an app you can have on your phone or tablet to kind of see the same information as you do on the computer, just in a different way, right? So you've got that dashboard here, kind of looking at your history there. But if you want to break it down and say, well, let me look at how many tons of tin stone I've sold. Okay, 77 tons. And then maybe you want to track the loads you've sent to a certain customer, or maybe even a certain job here. I want to look at this 4223. I want to look at all those tickets there. Cool, there's the tickets, but I actually need to see a copy of the ticket for whatever reason. So let me click right there and pull up a copy of that ticket right there. So we can drill down even to the copy of the ticket right there if we need to on that mobile app. So lots of ways to get this information to the customers in a digital way. And again, trying to eliminate paper, and more than just eliminating paper, it's not necessarily about that. It's more of getting the information to the people as soon as we can, right? Whether it be in the portal, via email, via text message, we can text the tickets to people in real time there as well.
Hey, BJ, there's a question from Mike Kickless from KNR asking about how long the image will be stored in the system.
Forever. So the tickets in the ticket query, the images and all that, we store that information forever. Even if a ticket is voided, we're going to hang on to those tickets for as long well, forever really. But if there's a situation where you're like, hey, we want to purge this stuff, it's been 5 years, we don't need those anymore, let's purge it. We can do that for you, but we'll hang on to it forever.
Hey, BJ,
I was
sorry,
going to
go
say
ahead,
those
Steve.
tickets are available on our mobile app as well. So anything available, on the web portal, we also have access to similar data, through a mobile application as well.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, BJ, maybe you can talk about how the camera, or the accessory can be added to the Fastway system, how to make things automated or even the plate recognition.
Sure. Yeah. So adding peripherals is what we'll call them. That's a scale, that's a camera, that's a whatever it may be. That's really easy to do. We really prefer with the cameras, the IP based cameras. So we just basically what we're doing here is got to think about what I'm doing here. You enter that IP address. Now this is different here, but you enter that URL there, and so that's the image that we're grabbing is from that camera there. The scale is the same way. We can connect serial to USB with the scale if you want to, but if you've got we prefer IP-based scales, so you just pop that address in right there, and then we're reading that scale automatically. LPR cameras, we can connect to those too. We use a company called Tagmaster for our LPR cameras. Same situation. You're putting that address in there, and then when that truck comes in, I used to have it connected, but I don't right now. When that truck comes in the system here, you're setting up that truck and you're setting up that license plate number. So when that truck comes in, it reads that license plate and automatically identifies that truck, saying, okay, this is truck 123 that's come in. And even kind of a step further from that, if we've done some stuff with truck assignments and things like that, we can make it to where when that truck comes in, it automatically pulls the truck and that customer order product in. So we're not really having to type anything out. And that kind of plays to the kiosk element. If you've got some people that say, hey, we want to automate this and run kiosks and things like that, that's really good for that when we pre-assign trucks. So when they come in, it just reads that plate, pulls in that assignment already. And I'm just going to pretend like this is what we're doing here with the truck assignment. So it reads the plate, pops it in, all that stuff's filled out. So you don't have to type anything in. And then you just grab the weight right there and then create the ticket.
And it can work on both inbound and outbound?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, inbound and outbound, we can check trucks in. Let me do this real quick since we're talking about it. I'll just see if I can get this pulled up and show you. It won't take but just 2 seconds. Yeah, so it could be inbound and outbound traditionally at a scale house, right? With an operator there doing things and stuff like that. But it also could be on the kiosk, which is what you're seeing right here. Chances are you're not going to have both of these. You're going to have a check-in kiosk and a checkout kiosk. But when we want to check somebody in, that would just be a check-in, and then we're identifying the truck, what they're there for. If it's not being pre-assigned, we identify what they're there for. Let me just do this real fast. Okay, that guy's pre-assigned. So you saw when I just chose that truck. Let me do that one more time. So we auto ID that truck, boom, pulls that stuff in right there. We'll check him in. Now that truck's checked in. Your L5000 or 3180 should now see that truck with that checked in information. And then same process.
That check-in process would communicate with the LG 500, which in turn is going to communicate with the loader scale unit to mark that, send the information back to the loader.
Yeah. And then conversely, when they come to check out or to scale out or whatever, same is true. That truck gets pulled in, there's all that information. We're good there. So just create that ticket.
And we do have the ability, if you used a check-in kiosk, we would have the ability, we have the ability to create the ticket from the Loadrite unit without using a third weigh scale, a weigh scale. So you could check in the truck with a kiosk and then have the truck check back out to get his ticket. And that ticket could be created from the Loadrite scale weight as well.
Yeah. Basically,
but you have to create the check-in record.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically what you would have here, instead of create ticket, we're just essentially having a ticket reprint kind of here, because trucks get out of order, right? So we can't just automatically print it then, because then you're going to have a bunch of tickets just sitting there and it's going to be out of order. So what you would do is we have and I don't have it set up here, but just basically a ticket reprint. So they just choose their truck and just say reprint ticket, and then it reprints that ticket for them, that Loadrite ticket. Okay. Shoot, man, there's a whole lot more to the software, but I don't want to take up everybody's time. I mean, any other questions from anybody about, I mean, the integration, what we do, Fastway, or anything?
I think that there's a couple of questions there. BJ, so let me jump into answer. So the couple from Vicky, she was asking about does the LG 500 has to be Ethernet? The answer is yes, because it doesn't have any Wi-Fi ability to connect to network, so it needs to be Ethernet connection. But that's actually pretty easy, actually easier than Wi-Fi. And also a question from Vicky too about would it work for L2180? Oh no, it doesn't. It has to be either L5000 or 3180. The upside is that we can get some upgrade going because of this program.
Yeah. Mike, I'll take the one from Mike. So, hypothetically, I get that little sarcasm there, which, nothing ever happens to the scale or the loader. That's okay. I mean, obviously, as long as we have power and as long as we're able to operate Fastway, we can do some manual overrides as far as weights go. Now, internet goes down and stuff like that, scales go down, then yes, we lose the connection, we lose the integration piece, right? But as far as Fastway goes, that's okay. I mean, we're still going to be able to do let me just show you. I'm sitting here talking about it and I could be showing you what to do. I've got this override right here, so I can type in that weight if I need to, right there. And then that becomes my weight. So I've lost my connection to my scale or something. So now I can manually enter that. And if you lose your scale altogether, then whatever your practices are as far as entering that weight, maybe it's just a standard weight of whatever, then you could just do that override, enter that weight.
Yeah, BJ also add to that too. So I think one of the typical concern, because the Fastway system or any system that's cloud based, people are a bit nervous because what if you lose internet? So one of the things I really excited about Fastway is that they share the same principle or philosophy with Loadrite, where it just have to work without internet, right? So you Fastway have you guys can talk a bit more, but have a server and make sure everything still work without internet. And this is also the same reason we also have the LG 500, a physical box in the office rather than somewhere in the cloud. So if somehow someone take out the internet, business still going, right? So
yeah. There was a question, I don't think we've answered it yet, from JB Bartlett, and Steve, you may want to take this one about understanding the integration aspect and the intended strategy for implementation.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things we're trying to accomplish here. We do have our own, what we call our in-yard loader app, to compete with the likes of Command Elkin's wireless loader. So the strategy here was to kind of basically eliminate another device in the loader. So a lot of our customers were interested in, getting information back to the loader operator as to what trucks were coming in the yard, when did they get there, and what product they were coming to pick up, and then how much to load on that truck to be able to prevent overloading, underloading, things of that, but not have to put a second device in the unit. So we kind of took it as a strategy to say, okay, let's add an integration with Loadrite, since they had this API with the LG 500 where we could do a lot of the information, consume that information and push it back to the loader operator. So that was part of the strategy, and then potentially kind of see where it goes and see if we could get some market buzz in the industry. So that's why we kind of built the integration, and plus because we're kind of an open architecture, and you guys had an open architecture with the LG 500, it made it um, very easy to build this integration for us. So it was not going to be a heavy lift because we are built on a modern API, much like the LG 500 was. So that was this was the initial integration we started with, and I think we could kind of take it, see where else it could go. Could we generate tickets from the Loadrite unit and pass those tickets back to us, so that now we become a mechanism to do invoicing, be an invoicing engine for Loadrite, to be able to collect cash, payments, things of that nature.
Yeah. Um,
Yep.
Vicky had a question about the approximate cost of Fastway, and I'm going to say, Vicky, as much as you can get, as much. No, it really varies, because the way we do our pricing model is kind of, it's really, at the end of the day, it's based off of how many tickets that person consumes. So to say an approximate cost is hard to say. It could be anywhere from lower end of just small mom and pops, one quarry doing about 15, 20,000 tickets here, $5,000, but it could be also too the big, large players. I mean, it could be, $40,000, $50,000. So it's really a case by case basis on how we do the pricing.
And typically what we're seeing is we're usually lower cost to get into than the old legacy competitors. And then especially when you add up the cost to implement, put the technology in place, because we don't require any servers to be installed, any local databases to be managed. So this is where we get very price competitive.
And I should have clarified, it is an annual subscription. So
Yeah, I think that I spotted a question. I forgot that maybe part of JB's question. So asking about in terms of which customer set we should go after, at least initially, or in what sequence. So I think obviously there we have two set of customer base, right? So from my point of view, probably the easiest branch will be the customer already using Fastway, because there's a bit more network system already in place. So they either buy a new loader, scale, or upgrade the existing. So that's it. That's really can get it going straight away. And for Loadrite customer doesn't have Fastway, the hurdle may be a bit bigger because they need to switch their kind of ERP equivalent system. So it will be a bit more work. So the resistance may be a bit higher. So the least resistant part will be, the Fastway customer base that they may or may not have Loadrite. That's how I see that probably the easiest thing to get to.
So Vicky, can we get a list of Fastway customers in our territory? Yeah, we'll talk about that offline and see what we can do as far as.
Well, I think and I was going to say, if you go back to the PowerPoint, we can probably start wrapping things up. We kind of put a little FAQ in there, and then we also put a list of our sales territory reps with contact information that we can work with you guys with, common customers, and provide information of who we're working with, and then maybe skip to these are just kind of, we'll send this out. You guys will have a copy of this, but we have a sales and service contact list link there, which provides you a list of all of our contact information, and what territories we're in, and who to reach out to.
Yeah, I think they add to the same point. So for like Vicky or any of our dealers, so Fastway, they have 4 territory or 4 regions. So there's the list in this document here that you can actually see which sales rep that you should get contact with. So that's where you guys can get down and roll up. Just get to work out, hey, who are the common customer, and we get started with them. Yeah. So just want to make sure we cover all the questions. So there's a question from Vicky. I think it's a good question. So the question is, when we have a customer looking for integration but don't have a solution, who do we direct them to look into Fastway? I think that is a really good question. So so basically the same question will either go to the Loadrite end or to the Fastway end, right? So I think where we once they qualify the genuine interest, then I think that's where we think it's the best way. Basically, the Loadrite dealer and the Fastway rep pair together and work out the best way to do the presentation or take it to the next step. So basically, a joint effort all the way from the beginning to the end. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously this takes some integration work and
Yeah.
integration between us to make it all work. So, you
Yep.
know, I think it's going to be both parties working together with the customer to provide a solution. And you know, we obviously are very, you know, can handle the Fastway side and much of the details on what they need to do to the requirements to support the solution. You know, we can't really support the putting the units in the cab of the loader. That's obviously your end. So, but once it gets beyond the loader, we can handle that side of the equation. I think next time we need to open up everybody's mic. I don't like this one-way conversation. But
I thought it was an open mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they could probably unmute their mic if they want to talk. I don't know if that's allowed. Gene, you set this webinar up.
Yes, there are ways to.
Yeah. So if anybody wants
to
have a open dialogue, if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to.
It's all done now. I went ahead and made it so they can. So y'all can go ahead and unmute yourselves. There's a little button at the top to do that whenever y'all were ready.
And if nobody wants to talk, we can wrap.
Hey, this is Mike with KNR. I was just curious. So, you know, the big question we get from the customers are, you know, what's your lead time? When you're going to be there? So if we have, say, a system in place, if something does happen and we need help or we need field service, is that something you do remotely or we take care of? Or do you send someone from Fastway? And of course, we have to learn the product, but I'm just curious, like, what's your average lead time if there's such a thing?
Yeah, I mean, we're almost primarily a software play. So most of what we do is remote support, unless a customer engages us to come on site. So most of the things that we can do is you know, we can do, you know, remote support in 90% of the cases we're involved with. Obviously, you know, you guys are a little more field service on site, where we're probably more of a pure software play and can handle most of the things and eliminate that cost of coming on site.
So we're the mechanical connection end of it, and then you guys do the other half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Anybody else before we wrap?
It looks like
I guess we'll call it a day. It's almost 5 p.m. in the East Coast here, so but appreciate everybody's time, and hopefully this will help help customers in the industry. And
yep. So Thank you, Steve and BJ, doing this
Yep.
webinar. And any Loadrite dealers or anyone have any questions, feel free to contact me, or I don't know if you share the contact list, but there's a link to get to, or we'll circulate the document that have a link of contact information of the Fastway people and the Loadrite dealer list together, so you guys can talk to each other. And if you have any question, you can come to me or Steve.
Yep. Feel free to
yeah.
call BJ or I direct. So
Yep.
if any questions on the Fastway. Okay.
Just so
Thanks,
everyone
guys.
knows, this webinar was recorded, so I'll be sending out a recording as well. As soon as I can get that compressed and uploaded for you, we'll get that sent out probably tomorrow, and we'll send that document out as well that sort of summarizes all of this information.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.